A strange fruit is rotting, hanging low, and falling far from its tree. While they trade meaning for happiness, the mask slips. Nothing is real. Nothing really matters. Nothingness is power, escaping every hour in a pill, tinctures and potions. If they could only face reality. But how can one face reality when they know it not? Trading truth for pleasure, knowledge for ignorance. A comatose youth addicted to angst and orgasm. A shattered innocence opens up the chasm. Take your fill. Unbridled hedonism, malignant self-worship in the guise of liberty. A generation too big for the playpen, but still too small to heed the call. Its parents have left home, as the latchkey learns on their own. Whether the general public has noticed or not, what we once knew as tradition, culture, and family is being transformed at a rapid pace. A massive dark cloud has been stretching itself over society for decades now. A type of noir, a new age noir, is upon us, where the themes of the day lean towards a darkness and despair, or some exaggerated mania grounded in arrogance and elitism. The space in between is shrinking as these polar extremes deepen. The youth have fully accepted and internalized the ways of this massive dark cloud. Duality has fully set in, and no one seems to know who they are anymore, outside of what popular culture provides them, of course. And media culture has officially claimed the role of parent. While earthly parents are too busy neglecting their children, controlling or swallowing them, or simply giving them up to society altogether. We are aware that this type of darkness is generational and has been in a state of growth since about 1953, to be precise. This societal and spiritual darkness is nothing new, but it is weighty and more powerful than ever. But there seems to be a specific type of cloudiness that has been taking a passenger seat driver role socially. A parasitical angst that has been feeding on the heartstrings of youth culture. And today, we see it for all its false light and intrigue. It's in the movies, it's in the news, it's in your headphones and haunts every scroll feed, as if it feeds on society with the bloodlust of a demon, a Nosferatu, a spirit, a worldview, a constructed identity, whatever you wish to call it. We are seeing a new wave of this movement in culture today like never before. Nihilism. What is nihilism? A philosophical concept coined by German thinker Friedrich Nietzsche. Generally, nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles, and meaning of life itself. Here, morality is subjective, even reality can be considered subjective to a nihilist. Life is what you want it to be. You are your own God. In fact, to the nihilist, God is dead or useless, silly, and pointless to consider as a thing. The nihilist believes at the end of the day, nothing really matters. I mean, we're all going to die anyway, right? How many times have you heard that in your life? A nihilist believes to live is to be liberated without bound. Love is pain, and pain is love.
The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. The key to being happy isn't to search for meaning, it's to just keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense, and eventually you'll be dead.
Existence is a prison, a dark sort of game, or a fabricated simulation designed by some extraterrestrial entity out there in the supposed deep black void.
All right, God, is it? It's time for some answers. Who are we?
Here's the bad news. You're video game characters. You were designed by computer geeks in cubicles to run around and be controlled by other computer geeks in their bedrooms.
We knew that, Birkenstocks. Yeah, explain to us the meaning of life.
Okay, those computer geeks who control you, thing is, they're part of a video game too. You see, the planet Earth is my most immersive, detailed video game yet, and I play it 24 hours a day. It's great. You can get out of your car, have a family. I even put in a complete and wholly consistent fossil record for the nerds. So, the Simpsons game, your game, is really nothing but a mini game inside my Earth game, if you think about it.
So, not only are we not real, we're characters inside a mini-game inside another game. And the people playing us right now are the characters inside the big game that you're playing.
Well, you're not inside just any game. The planet Earth got a score of 96 on Metacritic.
Huh? God, there is one thing. Do you ever wonder if you're a character in a video game?
That's just dumb. I mean, stop being dumb.
Wow! Daddy, someone's looking at me!
It's very likely you know many people who subscribe to this philosophical perspective of life. Nihilists tend to have self-absorbed, destructive impulses and complexes, usually causing destruction of themselves, those around them, or society as a whole in the long term, directly or indirectly. With nihilism, you will find an atheistic or secular worldview based on the materialism of Kant and Darwin, the skepticism of Hegel and Schopenhauer, and the cold vein of Machiavelli. Interestingly, and beneath our noses, this dark cloud known as nihilism is covertly rising back to the surface of society and has been systematically injected into the populace via mass network and social media, especially the music industry, news broadcasting, and Hollywood. A nihilistic culture has now presented itself as the norm today. So normal, in fact, average people fail to even notice it. Consciences have been seared beyond repair. Endless fear porn and trauma has leveled the public to a lukewarm numbness. Moral values have been bent into an L shape, crooked and passive-aggressive, vengeful and suppressing emotional rage. Mixed with drug potions and flesh addictions, popular culture within society has rendered the masses tacit, yet corrupt, confused and insecure, yet all at the same time valiant and cavalier, double-minded and double-binded. Nihilism, the new unknown. For us to understand nihilism, we must first recognize that its origin is found in existentialism, a materialist's angst and obsession with the meaning of a life that apparently has no author. then, and possibly most importantly, we must refer to the social movement that breeds nihilism, and that is postmodernism. In short, postmodernism is a reactionary movement to modernism, which is based in Western traditions and most notably a Judeo-Christian worldview. Postmodernism was formed as a socio-cultural movement during the Enlightenment era, when men like Francis Bacon, Newton, and Descartes began to question the stiff and binary truths of the modern era and wanted to engage with science, the esoteric, and nature instead of the creator God and its moral absolutism. Similar to the Reformation's reaction to crooked Catholicism of the monarchy, the Enlightenment era wanted to change the Western traditions of truth. This resulted in postmodernism, a spunky literary movement, an anti-art wave in broad terms, but at its crux, the postmodernist aims to not only redefine culture and tradition, but remove the entire concept of absolute truth, form, standards, and natural order altogether. By focusing on logic, reason, and the individual, postmodernist thinkers took the works of Bacon, Descartes, and Newton to an all-new realm and configuration, namely figures like Immanuel Kant, to Martin Heidegger and Foucault, and of course the infamous deconstructionist Derrida. And these individuals ushered in what we know now today as the postmodern worldview, an anti-truth, anti-distinction, and individualism, and anti-God philosophy that stands as the foundation of most neoliberalism in academia throughout the earth. Here we find the concept of logic, reason, and truth completely disregarded as viable goals for humanity. Michel Foucault himself states as, quote, "Reason is the ultimate language of madness. Instead, the focus becomes arbitrary feelings, emotion, and subjectivity over objectivity and absolutes, community and collectivism over individualistic nation-states. Our modern-day identity politics culture is a perfect example of this, since it is in fact a postmodern movement. Here you will find pro-socialism and communism, equality of outcome proponents, egalitarianism, diversity, inclusion, representation, and plenty more newspeak terms to fill your goblet. Overall, within postmodernism, there is a consensus on secular humanism as a belief system, atheism and agnosticism as well. To put it simple, postmodernism is an intellectual reinterpretation of reality and epistemology. Truth is a myth, and reason is just a white male construct. Fascinating. What does this have to do with nihilism? Well, nihilism is a byproduct of the postmodernist worldview. Once you remove reason, meaning, and truth, morality, and especially God, what else is there to believe in? Nothingness. Nihilism can be generally described in three specific forms: moral, spiritual, and intellectual nihilism. No absolute morality, no absolute God, no absolute truth. In other words, anything is up for debate. Your truth is your truth, and my truth is my truth. No one is right, no one is wrong. Since there's no intrinsic point to anything, do what you want, how you want, or simply do nothing at all.